cross-stitching runner and welcome to my channel. I want to say a big hello and welcome to all new and returning viewers, and if by chance you've stumbled across this channel is all about cross-stitch with a bit of life stuff thrown in, and it has been a super busy 2 weeks since I last caught up with you, especially with my crafting and a bit of the stitching as well. And I'm super excited to share with you the progress that I've made on my projects and the crafting stuff that I've been doing as well. Also, this is the second week. No, it has been longer than 2 weeks. Well, 2 weeks since we last caught up. However, we are getting closer to being pretty much just past the middle of January. Today is Sunday, the 21st of January, and I am, I guess, in the middle of the Australia-themed stitching month, and let's get into seeing what I've gotten up to. So I'm going to get into the crafting side of things, and it has taken up most of what feels like most of my time, but a few of my afternoons after work, and I am super excited about the results that have happened with this bit of crafting. And I'm also excited about sharing this with you because it really fits in with the theme of the Aussie Stitching January. I don't think I've quite pinned down the exact wording for what I'm doing in January, but the basic theme is to stitch on projects that are designed by Australians or using products that have been created by Australians, whether it be the dyeing of fabric or the specialty threads. So I'm thinking along the lines of dinky dye threads or the cottage garden threads or brinded bella threads or anything along those lines, and using those in any of the projects that I'm working on. And the next bit of crafting that I have to share with you is, I won't go into it. I'm just going to show you because me trying to describe it, I'm going to get tongue-tied and really not do it justice. So I've been working on project bags, and what I'm also excited about is that I've got the zipper pulls attached to them, and it's something that I've been procrastinating doing for what feels like a few months, because I've had some of these things, beads, threads, whatever you want to call them, ready to go. But I have procrastinated putting it all together because I've felt uncertain about the exact way I should go about it. But I've figured, no, with having these project bags done, I wanted to really finish it off and get it done in time to share with you what I've done. And these flowers that are on this project bag is wattle, and it's one of the native plants here in Australia. And what I'm also excited about, the blue doesn't seem like it would go with this bag. However, it's lined with blue fabric, and I love the way that it's all come together. And with these particular string of beads, I had purchased them online via Lincraft, I believe, and I guess I can't take credit for the order in which these beads appear or the construction of it or anything like that, because I purchased it already strung like we see it now, and I'm fumbling my words. I'm so sorry. I'll slow it down and take a few deep breaths. I'm just so excited about sharing with you the progress of these, and I'm feeling a little bit nervous about how this is going to be, because in terms of the sturdiness, and I guess it depends on how rough I might be with the zip pulls and such, I'm hoping that I've done it all good with the way I've attached it to the zipper, but all should be good. I am just excited to start using these bags. So these bags may be for my own designs, it may be just projects that I'm working on, because the way that I've currently been, the way that I've been currently transporting my projects, I've known there's got to be a better way. And I've not talked about the project bags that I've worked on and assembled and made available for sale or anything like that as much as what I should be. And this is one of my New Year's resolutions to make the most of talking about my cross stitch, not just on this channel, but with people I work with, people I interact with in person or in any other format. And I guess this is a good start. So this is one of the project bags that I've put together. The next few project bags have been made out of the same fabric. The fabric I had purchased through Spotlight's website quite a while ago, or it feels like quite a while ago. Again, because I've procrastinated, partly because I've not always had the tools that I've needed, so I might have put it off because I might have needed a zipper or something to put on the bag. But what's done is done, and I'm really happy with the results. Again, I really like this particular zipper pull because of the glitteriness of these beads. And again, I can't take credit for these particular string of beads. They were already assembled like this. I think the only change that I did make was putting this little bead on, and I don't think it's going to focus very well. Anyway, what I'm trying to show is that this slightly bigger bead has these little silver stars on them to try and sort of complement the glitteriness of these other beads. And this is really cool. I think it does complement some of the colours that we see on this particular zipper bag, or project bag rather. And this one again is lined. It's got the yellows inside it to try and complement the yellow flowers that we see for the wattle. And then the next project bag I put together, again, same fabric, and these string of charms were already assembled as we see them now. I purchased again the string of beads from Spotlight, and it was just a matter of fiddling around a bit to get these attached to the zipper. And the zipper, this one's a bit stuck. So again, this is testing out a little bit of the sturdiness of this zipper. And what I'm trying to share with you is that the inside of this particular project bag, there we go, it's got green fabric inside. So that was the other thing that I was trying to do with some of these project bags, to match the inside colours with the zipper if I could. And it's come together all good. Again, I'm looking forward to using these project bags, and I don't necessarily have the exact measurements, but they would definitely easily fit an A4 pattern plus your project that might be on a hoop. That's the best way I can put it. If you are curious about any of the measurements or anything like that, by all means, drop me a line, or I'll try and put the details into the description box below. This particular project bag I had made donkey's years ago, what feels like ages ago. The only difference with this is that I finally attached the zipper pull to it. Again, I can't take credit for this particular string. It was, or with the exception of this little bead that I've attached at the end, these particular flowers, they were already like this. I had purchased them from Spotlight, and same with this little bead thing here as well. It was part of a little pack of beads that I purchased from Spotlight, but I just finally got around to attaching it to the zipper. And the inside is a mixture of calico and this daisy fabric that we see, and I'm just really excited about having the zipper pulls attached, which is a similar thing for these next couple of project bags as well, because I've very much already ages ago created these project bags. I just never got around to attaching the strings of beads, and again, this zipper pull was already assembled like we see it, and I think they're really cool. And again, the inside of the bag is just, in this case, the really boring calico kind of fabric, but I think it's still really cool. And the very last project bag that I had to share with you is, again, one that was assembled many, many moons ago, and it was just a matter of attaching the string of beads that were already assembled, and I just needed to attach them to the zipper. And this is just the inside. So this again is just what has taken up a bit of my time after work, and I'm just really excited that it's all fully complete and absolutely awesome. Now for the actual stitching. So all of the projects that I have to share with you, except for one, are all hot cross stitching designs, and all of them are available on the hot cross stitching website and my Etsy store as well. So the first project that I have to share with you is the Blue Mountains walking trail. My apologies for the glare here. And this feels like it's going to be a lifetime type of project, because it's going to take me a while, mostly because of the size and partly because of the confetti stitching. I think it's worth it though. And this is where I am at. And initially I was trying to fill in a lot of the squares here, and I found that I was a little bit lazy, where I already had a few boxes with me of my stash in terms of my DMC threads, but I had to get up and get some of the other threads that I didn't have sitting next to me, and like, no, can't be bothered. So what I started to do was work down here, and my aim was to try and get a minimum of 100 stitches per time that I sat down. So I've probably worked on this maybe 2 or 3 times since we've caught up, and I have been able to get a bit of progress on the side here and a bit more along here. And my aim, I think, with this piece is to perhaps try and work on the bigger chunks. Bigger chunks in the sense of, well, focusing on the larger amounts, larger high count colours. Yes, that's the wording that I'm looking for. So working on threads that have the most number of stitches, because at the moment the constant changing of the needle is wearing me down just a little bit. So I thought, no, I just wanted to try and get this done, and it'll help me with seeing a bit more progress on it as well. It'll help with my motivation to continue working on it. So this particular piece is being stitched on it's 28 count fabric. It's easy grid fabric, and I would like to say that it's 20 by 20, but I think it's almost 40 by 40, because when I'm looking at the chart, so it's 20 by 20, which actually works out to be nearly 400 stitches per square. And me and maths initially didn't go well, and I fully thought, oh yeah, 20 by 20 means 200. It's 400 stitches per square, so that's why it's taking a little bit longer, but it is absolutely worth it. And I love that I can really start to see the leaves of the ferns coming together, coming to life, and it's really exciting. And seeing this on screen helps with that motivation of wanting to work on it a lot more. This next piece that I have to share with you is a new release, and I'm quite excited about it and somewhat nervous about it because I am stitching this prior to having like a proper picture put up on the website. So this next thing to share with you is just a mock-up at the moment, and it's called Comparison is the Thief of Joy. And it's a phrase, or a quote rather, that I've heard frequently in different realms, more specifically in the realm of the running and fitness side of things. And especially when it comes to maybe comparing myself to earlier times that I've done when I've been younger, when I've been fitter, and perhaps not had as many injuries or anything along those lines. And then also on the other realm of things of comparing my physique to what I think it should be based on people I see running around in their underwear, or what seems to be like their underwear, running around being all fitness peoples, and what I see in the media and all the rest. And very slowly, it's now getting to the stage where I'm learning to just let that go and not do the comparisons and try and not get stuck in my head too much about what my body looks like compared to the 20 somethings that are running around and being fit and healthy, because I'm being fit and healthy as well, and my body just looks different, and that's it. And I'm learning to accept that and ignoring any weird, odd, and derogatory comments that I hear as part of being out and about and fit and healthy. And so this is where the whole comparison is the thief of joy is what inspired me for this piece. And I feel like I need to have done a bit more than I have, but this is my very simple start for comparison is the thief of joy. I'm stitching this on 29 count fabric, and I've never stitched on 29 count fabric before. I didn't even know it existed because I'm just so used to a lot of us seeing and using and hearing about um, the 28 count fabric or the 25 count fabric and all the rest. And this particular fabric obviously is the easy guide fabric, and I hope that the blue that we see here marking out the grids, fingers crossed, it washes out, because I'm going to be kind of stuffed if it isn't. Stuffed in the sense that with comparison as a thief of joy, it's not full coverage, and the grid lines are very much going to be visible for a large portion of the design or the project when it's finished being stitched. So to put into perspective, I have all, sorry, my fingers are small, my hands are small. I've started just around here, and I don't know if I've allowed myself enough space at the top. So I don't know if I've allowed myself enough space at the top here for part of that olive branch. I don't know if it's actually an olive branch, but in my mind, I am thinking that it is, because that's part of giving myself the olive branch, the the piece, so to speak, of okay, let bygones be bygones, but that's still not quite the phrasing that I'm thinking of here. It's let's just accept things as being the way that they are, and let's see how we can improve on that, which is part of my New Year's resolution to improve on what I did last year and see how I can make it better. So rather than saying that I am going to design and release 50 projects or 50 charts over the course of 12 months. That is still a very specific goal, which is good, but potentially unachievable. So it's like, okay, well, I didn't release, I don't think I released any charts last year. So it's like, okay, well, let's see how many charts I can release this year. And so far in January, I've been able to release 2, which I am super proud of. And I'm looking forward to working more on comparison is a thief of joy. And to also put into perspective, I'm using all DMC threads for all of my projects, and I'll try and let you know if I'm not using DMC thread in any capacity. And so this is being stitched 1/1 on the 29 count fabric. The next project that I have to share with you is an oldie but a goodie. It is the Gundaroo mini mushroom, also known as mini mushrooms. And this is what the project will hopefully look like when it's done. And I'm slowly getting there in terms of being nearly halfway through it. This piece I feel like I've struggled with so far because I think I finally fixed or fudged a bit of the mistake that I had in some of the lines here. So now I can just keep doing almost like the typewriter method. And I've picked up on what the typewriter method is based on Stitching Mummy. And I didn't realize that I partly do this depending on what project I'm working on until Stitching Mummy was able to put words to it and actually go, yes, that I do that sometimes, and it really makes a difference. So based on what my understanding of what Sarah, the Stitching Mummy, has described for the typewriter method and how I use the typewriter method is I'll perhaps focus on a 10 by 10 square, and I'll go left to right, line by line, and I'll try and just really focus on that 10 by 10 square. And for each symbol that I see on that line, I'll stitch that particular symbol, even if it means that it is just one color, one cross of that particular color. I'll still keep in mind what other symbols are around in that particular square. So I'll, in some cases, do a little bit of parking as well. So if I know that, say, the DMC 310, the black, is appearing as one cross on the first line, but then 2 lines down it is appearing for 3 crosses, I'll make sure to park the thread just near the start of those 3 stitches to make it a bit easier for not having to not sign off, but to close that thread, cut the thread, then start it up again. It just tries to help with the flow of it. And I feel like I'm butchering this description of the typewriting method. So if by chance you're needing a better explanation of the typewriting method, I recommend that you reach out to Sarah, the Stitching Mummy, because I think she does a brilliant job of describing or defining what the typewriter method is and how she uses it. Okay, so now that I've completely kerfuddled and muddled everything up, let's go back into the stitching and get on to my next new design new release for January 2024. And this next one, I've really gotten into stitching this one, and I'm going to bring up just the cover page for this. So this is a Spanish proverb called a life lived in fear is a life half lived. And I've chosen to release this one at the start of 2024 because I'm very much trying to get myself out of the fear of doing different things. So this is where I'm at. I've been doing a lot of the blue, and I've really tried to focus on, I guess, the start of the body of the butterfly. And in terms of living in fear, it can be as small as putting yourself out there and recording a floss tube, or it could be that fear of stepping out into the world and making a start on your fitness journey that you've been wanting to do for perhaps some time, but you may have feared how other people might perceive you as you are making that effort to go for that long walk, or to start running, or to do whatever it is that you want to do in that fitness journey or any other aspect of your life. And I know that it's held me back a fair bit, where I've feared failure. I have feared what other people would think of me, or any other weird thinking that my brain has gone with. So this is why I'm really, really excited about working on this piece, and I'm stitching this on 18 count Ada. And I know that with this particular chart, I have suggested the use of 28 count antique white linen, or even weave. But I'm choosing to stitch this on the 18 count Ada because I'm curious to see how it will come out, what the dimensions will be, and that way I can give people another option of what this piece will look like if they don't want to stitch on linen. And at the moment, I really am enjoying how this is coming about. These next three projects that I have to share with you are oldies but goodies. And this next piece especially is one that I've raved on quite frequently about, especially if you are a returning viewer, and it's Dewdrop Daisy. And this is where I'm at so far, and it's probably a piece that this piece so far for January, I've spent the most amount of time on compared with the other projects that I have shared with you and the next few that I'm about to share with you. My aim is to try and get a lot of the green that we see in the corner here stitched, and it's helping me pass the time a lot quicker in terms of how much time I'm spending on it. And my aim is to get as much of this green stitched as I can and join it up with the green that's on the other side of this project, because similar to what I'm doing with the Blue Mountains walking trail piece, I'm wanting to get the numbers down in terms of stitching 934 as much as possible, because 934 is the DMC thread that has the most amount of stitches attributed to it. And there's several thousand, I believe, that I still have left to stitch for 934. It's going to be worth it though, because 934 in this piece at the very bottom of the chart will help me to outline the last few petals that are on this piece. And it's going to be really exciting just to help with that motivation to see the light at the end of the tunnel and get this piece done by the end of this calendar year. I am looking forward to it, and I think it's achievable as well, because I'm not stitching on this every day, and it would be good to be able to stitch on it every day, but it would also mean that I wouldn't get to work on the other pieces as much, which could mean that for now, until I get Dewdrop Daisy done, my Flosstube episodes are going to be very short and super boring, because all I'll be talking about is Dewdrop Daisy, and I would rather be able to get some slow progress done on Dewdrop and have many other projects to share with you as well to keep things interesting. And I think it also keeps my stitching journey interesting as well, because I'm working on different things. And speaking of different things, the next piece I have to share with you is black and white rolled up daisy. And I'm stilting or pausing a little bit in the way that I speak, because I've realised that I've not shared with you the cover page for Dewdrop Daisy. However, this time I feel that I don't need to, because it is a smidgen over 80% done. I'm just going to see if I can find the project to give you the details. Where are we? Okay, so Pattern Keeper is telling me that I've gotten 84.21% complete of Dewdrop Daisy, and that is super exciting, which means that so far I have stitched 50,965 stitches out of a total of 60,522. And that I think is pretty awesome. It's super cool. And what I also love is that it is less than 10,000 stitches that I've got to get done on Dewdrop Daisy. So a finish for this year for Dewdrop Daisy is absolutely achievable, and I think that is really exciting. Just saying that out loud really helps with that motivation. That said, let's get back into black and white rolled up daisy. So I'm just going to find the cover page here for you. And this is what black and white rolled up daisy looks like. And as a photo, I just love how this looks. And when I've been stitching on black and white rolled up daisy, I've loved how it's come together, because I'm focusing on the actual flower at the moment to really fill in that middle, because let's face it, the background is boring. It is what it is. It is part of the design, and I'm definitely learning that if I re-release black and white rolled up daisy, the first adjustment that I'll be making to this piece is removing the background. So it's not full coverage. It is just the outline of the flower, and then like the actual flower, rather than it being what the traditional full coverage people view to being full coverage. Because in some of the Facebook groups that are to do with full coverage, they believe that full coverage needs to be a definite square, rectangle, or a circle. So, for example, if we were to stitch a solid picture with the outline of the map of Australia or the map of any country, then without it being a square border or anything like that, that would not be considered full coverage, which to me is bonkers. It's nuts, because it is still such a solid amount of stitching. But then, hey, each to their own for what they want to do. That's it. Let's get back to this piece, and I'm loving this. It is looking still a little bit speckled, but it's the fact that we can start to see some of those petals curling up, and we can see some of the water droplets that are on it. And seeing this piece, especially seeing the photo that this piece is based on, I have a bit to share with you to do with some life stuff that I'll talk a bit about after we go through the stitching. But just before I move on to the next project, I am stitching this on 18 count black Aida, and I'm definitely making sure that I stitch this during the day, mostly because at night my eyes are tired and mistakes can happen. But this is really cool. I do love this piece. I don't know how long it'll take me to get this done. I think partly because I'm not working on it every day. The fact that I am trying to focus on it a little bit during January, I think is helping a lot. That said, the next piece that I have to share with you, and this one I know is a favourite amongst many people, is I Count My Lucky Stars. And I must admit, I'm a fan of this piece as well. So I Count My Lucky Stars is a quote that I use as a way of being grateful for everything that I have in my life and for every person that is in my life. And when I created this piece, I very much had my boyfriend in mind for this, and it still rings true. So this is where I'm at. I've stitched this on 28 count linen, and the quote has been stitched in the Karen water lilies, the tequila sunrise, and with the this is what I've been focusing on at the moment, the leaf that we see here. I'm using the DMC thread of 3766 by memory, and I'm really liking how it's coming together, because having that solid colour as the border, I think, really helps to highlight the quote and to just really focus on the beautiful colours that have been used for those words. And when I also mention about I Count My Lucky Stars being a favourite, on my Etsy store, I've had a lot of people favourite the chart or like it or anything in between. And one of the things that I'm curious about here is, for people who are watching who do have Etsy stores, I'm curious about how many of you get a lot of spam messaging to do with your products that you're selling. I've been getting so many spam messages, and thankfully they've not been in a negative way, that they're not bad mouthing any of the charts I'm trying to sell or anything like that, but they're spam messaging in the sense that they are people trying to do dodgy stuff. So it could be AI or whatever algorithm things that people who are dodgy trying to do stuff. But it'll be like messaging saying, "Oh, I really love this chart. Can you send me your email address so I can complete the transaction?" Or, "Oh, I really love your projects and blah, blah, blah." But when I then go to reply to those messages and say thank you and all the rest, there might be a little bit of a delay for when I can respond to those messages because of time zone differences. But when I go to reply to those messages and say, "Oh, thank you very much for your kind words," and that, I can't, because something about their account, it's blocks, there's weird things going on. And yeah, it's just got me curious, if any of you are creators and have an Etsy store, have you experienced anything like that as well? And I'm just curious as to how many people there are who have had those issues, and if it's had any negative impact on your store. So yeah, that's just one of the weird things I found with having an Etsy store, just having some of those weird spam messages that come through. That's it. Let's move on and let's get back onto our cross stitching. The last piece that I have to share with you is a country threads design, and it is a new start for me in the sense that yes, that's right. Last episode I had talked about starting this piece, but I hadn't actually started it. So with country threads, I've chosen to start on the Pelicans, and I think I've marked up a little bit already. This is where I'm at. Hopefully, no, this is the way it. Okay, so with the Pelican's wings, I think I've made a mistake in the sense that I mistook one of the symbols for being DMC 3799, but it should have been a different colour. So I'm thinking that I could potentially just fudge it, and it could just be as I continue stitching that that particular part of the feathers in the wing may just look a little bit darker than some of the other sections of the feathers, and it could be all right. That's my theory anyway. I'm stitching this on, I think this is 14 count Ada or 18. 14 or 18, either way, it's all good. But I'm looking forward to actually getting a bit more work done on this. And I've chosen pelicans because we see a lot of pelicans around here at Wollongong, and I love them. There is just something special about the pelicans. They are big birds, but because of their skeletal structure, they are just amazing to me in terms of seeing them flying around and just seem so graceful. And what I also love with the pelicans is, especially when there's a flock of them, seeing them flying in formation. So a lot of the pelicans I see when they are in flocks flying together, they're traveling in a V formation, and that is, to me, it's just something really cool. Just it's just part of nature, just admiring nature doing its thing. And this is where I'm going to get a little bit sidetracked and just share a little bit of life stuff to do with the pelicans. So the other day I drove nearly 20 minutes south of where I am to a suburb called Warilla, and I went for a run there, and I absolutely loved it. It was a tough to do the run, but I'm glad that I did it. And I went for a bit of a run along the part of the southern or southeastern shore of Lake Illawarra, and there were elements of that run, especially with the way the path is set up, that reminded me of Canberra and going for a run along the shoreline of Lake Billy Griffin, or even some of the other lakes that are in Canberra, whether it be Lake Ginninderra or Yerrabee Pond in Gungahlin, or even down towards Tuggeranong, and going for runs along there. And towards the end of my run, when I was heading back to the car, there was a series of lampposts that on each lamppost was a pelican. And the pelicans, they must have already been out, they had their feed, and they came back and they were just having a nap. They were sort of roosting up there, and it was just really, really cool to see them there. That said, they could also have been hanging out there waiting for some of the fishermen that were there to perhaps discard some of their catches or whatever it is that the fishermen may have been doing. And the pelicans perhaps were waiting for a bit of a feed. So either way, just seeing the pelicans, especially seeing them roosting up on top of those lampposts, I think was pretty cool. That said, I did need to pass under some of those lampposts, and whenever I do, especially when the pelicans are sitting up there, I do quietly hope that they don't need to relieve themselves, because being splattered by pelican droppings would not be fun at all. It would be very stinky, and it would mean that I would perhaps need to take a dive into the beach or the lake or something just to wash off. But again, that is just something I hope I never have to worry about. So that said, let's get into a bit of life stuff, because there is some life stuff that is still crafted related that I'm super excited to share with you. So yesterday, my boyfriend and I went for a drive down to Gerringong, and Gerringong's probably 45 minutes or so south of where we live, and it's this really awesome coastal town, very hilly, and it is absolutely awesome. It is a really cool place where at the top of nearly every hill you are standing on, you get these brilliant views of the ocean, and it's absolutely awesome. And there's a surf shop there called Natural Necessity, and it's got the slogan of definitely worth the drive. And for the township, generally speaking, of Gerringong, it is definitely worth the drive of heading off the highway for a little bit just to stretch the legs, have a break, and all the rest. And so I was really keen to just pop into to that store just to see if they had anything there that tickled my fancy for clothes or anything like that. But there was this other store that was probably two doors up from that surf shop called the Collective Beat, and I'd done a little bit of an internet search just to see what shops were at Gerringong to see if there was anything a little bit different that I wanted to have a look at. And the Collective Beat was one that I just really wanted to go and check out because it is a store that I've never seen a likeness of anywhere else, because the aim of the Collective Beat, and this is saying going by what their website is saying, is that it hosts multiple small business owners or entrepreneurs, creative peoples and such who have a variety of different things that they are wanting to sell as part of their small businesses. So it's a bit like an indoor market without the setting up and the taking down of your physical store at the markets at the end of each day. And it's pretty cool. So in the Collective Beat, there was a variety of things for sale, ranging from soaps and candles to jewelry, and beautiful jewelry, absolutely stunning jewelry. And the jewelry would be like your earrings, your necklaces, your rings to wear on your fingers, or pardon me, the bracelets and those sorts of things. And then there were these really beautiful landscape photographs that were possibly taken by drones as well, like the overhead sort of shots that you get for oceans and that kind of thing, or even I can't remember if there were any architectural kind of photos that were ranging in colour to black and white, and there were some other landscapes of like your country kind of lifestyle kind of stuff. There were, I think, some portraiture photos as well. All of them were framed up, ready to hang on your wall. Some people had also made notebooks and such out of with the covers of those photographs that you could purchase. There was also handmade clothes. There were handmade toys for kids. There were little stalls and such for handmade food. So there'd be like your jams, or there might be cake mixes or muffin mixes and those sorts of things. And it was a really cool store to go and check out. And what I also love about the Collective Beat is that it was like, oh my God, because these people are local artisans and such, it wasn't also noting that it wasn't like people were standing behind their stalls or anything like that. It was like a full-blown proper store. But when I walked in and I was looking around and seeing some of the things that were available for purchase, I felt excited and inspired, because with the photography especially, I was saying to my partner, I could do that. I could do something really similar to what we're seeing here, not replicating the photos of the beach landscapes or anything like that, but with the photos that I've converted into to cross stitch, I could press a few buttons on Etsy and all the rest, and make those photo prints available for purchase, or even see if I could reach out to the Collective Beat and see if it is possible or feasible to get some kind of stall or something set up. But it was just that inspiration that just got those inspiration juices or the creative juices flowing again. And I hadn't felt that kind of excitement for feels like ages when it comes to the photography side of things. And I absolutely love it. And that was something that I just really wanted to share with you about the trip that we did to Gerringong, because it's just absolutely awesome. And the views there were pretty cool as well. And I'm going to keep rambling if I don't move on to the next topic. Still to do with lifestyle stuff, but not tomorrow, next week. This coming working week is a short working week for me, and I'm really excited about it because it means that on Friday, well, this coming Friday, we've got Australia Day. It's a public holiday celebrated by a lot of people in Australia, and we celebrate it in different ways. So I'm really looking forward to having an extended long weekend. It'll mean that I am travelling to Canberra to catch up with some family and friends, and I will also be hoping to do some more new starts, because as part of me setting up for this Flosstube episode, I've got two cottage garden threads floating around that keep catching my eye and reminding me that I want to use them for something. I haven't figured out what I want to use them for yet, and that has got me thinking that I either need to create a new chart to use them in, or I need to find a chart to purchase that has been designed by an Aussie that I can stitch. So I think for the rest of today, it is either going to be browsing the net for some possible charts to purchase and stitch, especially to use some of the cottage garden threads or even some of the other threads that I've got in my stash that have been calling to me to be used, and I just haven't found the right chart yet. And yeah, working on cross stitch stuff, I've got some other plans in the works, especially for later this year, that I really, really want to share with you, but I've got to wait until November for it. It'll make sense as we get closer to it. You'll start hearing more whispers about it in October, especially. So please stick around for that. So now I am going to wrap up, and thank you all so much for bearing with me and hanging out with me for this time. And if by chance you haven't subscribed already and you've enjoyed this episode and you would like to see more episodes similar to this one, please make sure that you do subscribe and make sure you click on that like button as well, because that absolutely helps me to know that you've watched this episode and that you've enjoyed it, and any interactions that I do get with this channel help it to grow, which is absolutely awesome, because a part of my aim is when I get to 300 subscribers, I am going to do a giveaway. I've got some ideas in mind of what that giveaway will be, but at the moment I am about 20 odd subscribers away, maybe a little less, away from that 300 mark. So if by chance you've not subscribed yet and you do like this channel and you'd like to see more, please make sure you subscribe. Click on that like button. And yeah, if you are an Etsy creator person and you've had some weird conversations with spams, or you've gotten other weird spam message things, I'd love to hear about it so we can commiserate and all the rest, going, okay, it's not just me. I'm not the one weird one out there. So until then, I hope you have a fantastic next 2 weeks and happy stitching. See ya.